Welcome to our 4th volume of Magnum Performance Video Magazine. In our first story, we'll check in with our audit team and see what they have found out about dust accumulation in the cab and what to do about it. You'll find out what we're doing on the assembly line to improve the Magnum cab. Then we'll go into the shop and install the Power Beyond kit on the remote valve stack for those customers who need specialized hydraulic requirements. After that, we'll show you an update for 7100 Series Magnums. A new upper lift link pin has been made available, and we'll show you how to install it. Finally, we'll review 4 items that have been included on the 7200 Series Magnums. This will be of interest to the sales staff as well as the shop. We've received comments regarding dust accumulation in Magnum cabs. We've identified a few specific areas which should be checked if this becomes a concern for your customer. Ongoing audits are conducted to reveal small problems before they become big. The accumulation of dust into the cab was found to be one of these concerns. We've asked the assembly workers on the Magnum cab line to show us the procedures they use every day to make the cabs. Here are a few things they showed us. The front windshield is positioned on a rotating work surface, so the adhesive can be applied to all the mating surfaces. This adhesive is applied in a continuous bead along the surface. The windshield is then picked up and placed on the frame. Special clamps are used to hold the glass in place to secure it into position. The left and right lower glass pieces are secured in a similar manner. Once the glass and adhesive have mated with the cab frame, an airtight seal is formed. When you check these areas in the field and find a potential gap, you can seal it with RTV silicone. The left rear cab glass is installed next. The mating surfaces have been thoroughly cleaned. All portions which have been welded in the area are sanded down to make a flat, clean surface for the glass to adhere to. Next, let's move to where the door glass is assembled. Here we see the assembler applying small cushioning pieces of material to the frame. This keeps the glass from being damaged when the cab door is slammed shut. Adhesive is applied to the door window in a continuous bead along the edges. It is then lowered into position. Special clamps are used to hold the glass in place. The door is not completely assembled yet. The next step is to put the weather seal material all around the edges of the door. This seal mates with the cab frame. It's not difficult to replace this seal if you find it to be damaged on your customer's tractor. Special sound deadening material is placed on the inside surface of the door panel. Then the door hardware is installed. After it has been properly adjusted, the door is ready to be placed on the cab. The headliner can be a difficult place to check for possible leaks, so we'll show you how it's assembled. First, a special self-adhesive foam is used on all the mating surfaces of the blower frame. This foam will create a seal between it and the cab roof. The blower frame is then assembled to the cab roof. Several fasteners are used to keep it in place. The air conditioning condenser and heater core is installed next. A special putty is used to seal off the areas where the control cables go through the roof assembly. Once these 2 cores are assembled, the roof is ready to be assembled to the cab. The assembly workers have paid particular attention to these areas of the cab to make sure the customer works in a dust-free environment. Now, let's see how the door is attached to the cab. After some initial prep work, the door is lowered into position. 1 shim is used between the cab and the top door hinge. 2 shims are used at the bottom hinge. Once the door has been aligned, it is secured in place. A final check of the door latching mechanism is done before the cab is sent on its way to be mated with the tractor. If you do find gaps around the door on your customer's tractor, Refer to Service Bulletin NTRSB0195 for instructions on how to adjust the door using the hinge shims and the striker plate shims. We hope you found this quick tour of the cab assembly area beneficial to your efforts to maintain a dust-free environment for your customers. There are many specialty types of equipment in the marketplace today with very specific hydraulic operating requirements. For example, beet harvesters demand special requirements from the tractor's hydraulic system. For that reason, a Power Beyond kit is available from Magnum, which helps get the required flow from the remotes for these specialized applications. We'll show you how to install the Power Beyond kit to the Magnum hydraulic system. To get started, first remove the hydraulic oil return hose from the bottom of the remote valve cover. Then disconnect the bleed return hose from the valve cover. You now remove the nuts from the two larger mounting studs on the remote valve. Notice we've kept the smaller mounting stud nut in place to hold the valve cover to the valve stack. Using the two nuts, double nut one of the mounting studs. Remove the mounting stud from the valve. The two larger studs need to be replaced by longer ones. For a 4-spool valve, use part number 1986938C1. You should note there is a short-threaded end of the mounting stud and a long-threaded end. The short-threaded end goes into the remote valve stack first. Use the double nut technique again to install the new mounting stud. Turn the new stud into the valve stack until it becomes tight. Repeat the removal procedure on the second mounting stud. Replace this stud with the longer stud as we've just shown. You can now remove the nut from the smaller mounting stud. The cover is now free from the remote valve stack. Carefully remove the end cover. We perform the next few steps on the workbench. Remove the return port fitting from the valve cover. Place this fitting into the return port of the new Power Beyond valve body. Remove the bleed port fitting from the valve cover. Place this fitting into the bleed port of the new valve body. It's now time to install the new O-rings in the Power Beyond outlet cover. There are 3 large O-rings and 1 small O-ring. The large O-rings are part number 238-6117. The smaller O-ring is part number 238-6112. You can now install the Power Beyond valve body to the remote valve stack. Be sure not to pinch the O-rings. The nut on the smaller mounting stud can be replaced. The nuts on the 2 larger mounting studs can also be turned on. The nuts are tightened to a torque of 27 to 31 foot-pounds. Now that the Power Beyond kit is successfully mounted to the remote valves, let's set the pump signal adjustment. First, you must determine if the remote valve on the implement has an external signal port or not. If it does not have a signal port, there is no adjustment necessary to the Power Beyond signal spool. The position of the pump signal spool, as received from the factory, represents the signal adjustment body backed out 1/4 to 1/2 turn. This adjustment allows the poppet inside to seat and unseat. However, if the valve on the implement does have an external signal port, you must adjust the signal body in the Power Beyond valve. Loosen the jam nut on the pump signal body. Carefully turn the pump signal body all the way in and torque it to 2 to 3 foot-pounds. This adjustment will hold the poppet on its seat. That's all there is to it. Replace the bleed hose and the return hose to the new valve body, and the unit is ready for hookup to the implement. Check with Service Bulletin NTRSB0195 for a listing of the part numbers and details about the Power Beyond kit. By knowing how this kit is installed and how to properly hook it up to an implement, you can provide your customer with the hydraulic requirements he needs to operate his specialty equipment. On older Magnums, we have developed a kit to improve the performance of the upper lift link pins. We've noticed that when the hitch is used in heavy-duty applications, these pins wear because they rotate in the rock shaft arms. A package of replacement parts is available which corrects this condition. Package number 127691A1 contains the following parts: a rock shaft arm pin, swivel pin, a lift link yoke, a class 10.9 bolt, heavy-duty washer, and a spacer. Now, let's see how we install these parts. First, remove the pin from the rock shaft arm. Then, remove the pin from the swivel block. Save the block because we're going to use it later. Now, unscrew the upper lift rod from the link assembly. Remove the pin from the upper yoke, and then remove the leveling rod. Now, remove the turnbuckle locking clamp from the upper yoke. Reinstall the locking clamp to the new upper yoke. Then install the lift rod and pin. Continue by reinstalling the leveling rod back into the lift link. Check to be sure the rod is screwed down into the link the same distance as the lower lift rod is. Check the timing grooves to see that the same distance is revealed on both. Now, let's rework the swivel block. Drive out the bushings from both pinholes. We used a 1-inch driver. The new pins are larger than the old ones, so removing these bushings accommodates this larger size. We also have to remove the bushings from the rock shaft arm. Again, we used a driver to do this. You can now install the swivel block to the upper yoke using the new pin. Use a cotter pin to hold the pin in place. Insert the new rock shaft arm pin into the reworked rock shaft to use as a gauge. Mark a point in the rock shaft arm where the retaining bolt is to be located. Drill an 8.5 millimeter hole at the point you marked. We used a Q drill bit, which is similar. Now tap the hole using an M10 by 1.5 millimeter tap. After this is done, the assembly is ready to be put back together. Install the reworked swivel block to the rock shaft arm with the new pin. Install the spacer, washer, and bolt through the pin retainer and tighten the bolt to the rock shaft. Torque the bolt to 55 to 64 foot-pounds. Finally, pump grease into the swivel block. Repeat the procedure for the other side. That completes the installation of the new lift link package. In this story, we've compiled 4 items which have changed on the 7200 series tractors that we'd like to tell you about. The first update we've made has been to the deluxe suspension seat. The bottom seat cushion is now thicker. This deep foam will enhance the ride of the air seat. The bottom cushion has also been widened to provide more thigh support. The next update affects the front weight frame. When making sharp headland turns with the steering stops set to accommodate 14.9 R30 tires, we needed to make a modification to the weight frame. As you can see, there is an extended notch placed into the casting on the 18 weight frame. This prevents interference from the tires during tight turns. The Magnum tractors went through a logo facelift. The most obvious is the Magnum decals. We're very proud of our new Case Corporation identification. This new corporate identity has been used on the transmission plate. This plate is located on the right side of the tractor. The tractor's serial number plate, located on the floorboard, has also been updated with the new logo. We've even incorporated the new look to the quality assurance decal near the top step. The next update we'll show you is a detail we've changed to the lower links. You'll notice the rigid lower link now incorporates a welded U-channel section covering most of the distance from both ends. This beefs up the lower link, making it more durable for heavy three-point mounted equipment. This new rigid lower link is also part of the now standard heavy lift capable hitch on all 7240s and 7250s. And before we let you go, we'd like to update you on a part number we did not have available when we showed you how you can install the new implement status switch kit. The part number for this kit is 221545A1 and is available from Central Parts for those Magnum owners who would like to incorporate this time-saving feature. You can refer to Service Bulletin NTRSB0195 for more details. That's all for this fourth volume of Magnum Performance. We've already got several good topics for next time. See you then.